Hello and welcome to Dear Grief Guide, a podcast where each week I answer one anonymous letter from a listener feeling lost, stuck, heartbroken, or overwhelmed in the midst of grief. My name is Shelby Forsythia. I'm a grief coach and author, and I'm here to help you create a life you love from the life loss forced you to live. Let's get to today's letter. Dear Grief Guide, I have so much grief to work on, I don't even know where to begin. I was abused as a child, and both my parents abandoned me at different points in my life. My sister also ran away from home when I was 12, and we've been estranged since. 2 years ago, my long-term partner broke up with me out of the blue after we vowed to spend the rest of our lives together. I couldn't believe that I was being abandoned again. To this day, I feel frozen and unable to connect with others. Could you please help me reframe my grief so that I can start living my life again? Thanks. Frozen in disbelief. First, Frozen, thank you so much for reaching out and connecting with me. I can recognize how deep this pattern of abandonment runs through your life, and I am so honored and so grateful that you chose to reach out to me. You wrote in your letter that you feel frozen and unable to connect with others, but I need to let you know that this connection that you've tried to make has been received. Connection successful. Connection held strong. Secondly, I know you wrote to me about grief, but what you've written about, let's put an and in there, is more than I think what most people would call just grief. What you have lived through, what you have faced, is trauma. This is abuse. This is an unwinding of everything that life was supposed to be for you. You are not just grieving physical presence. You must also grieve physical safety, emotional support, mental safety and stability, seeing the world as a safe and good place that is a thing worth grieving, and spiritual connection and worldview. These are all things tangled up in grieving, trauma, abuse, and a lifetime of loss. A lot of times people say that we grieve because we love, but in the case of abusers and toxic people and assholes, I find that truth hard to swallow. Sometimes, I bet you can relate to this. It is complicated. And sometimes paintbrushing over all of it with the word love feels too simple. You wrote to me asking for a reframe, so here's what I'm going to give you. You are weighted down with so much grief because you care. You cared back then, when the abuse and trauma and estrangement was happening to you, and you care right now in the present, when this long-term partner left. You will care about your losses into the future as well. You grieve these many abandonments because you have a heart inside of you that by design was created to give a shit. Humans are born forming attachments, connecting to people and to animals and objects, reaching out for love and help and care and comfort. That is what we are made to do by design. We are community attaching creatures. And then to have that taken away time and time again in every possible flavor, and in every permutation and combination and iteration that you can imagine, and some that you can't and couldn't anticipate, that certainly creates grief. Your list of things to grieve is massive, Frozen. And in as much way as I can, I would be honored to help you on your way. But, and this is a huge but, I hope that you will not exclusively lean on me. Because again, there is so much more than just grief here. What I can do, should you choose to work with me beyond the bounds of this podcast episode, is trust yourself as the one constant thing that has been with you through your whole life. Amidst the abuse, amidst the estrangement, amidst the breakup and the abandonment, you have been here with you the whole time. You may not have been here for you. Sometimes we even practice self-abandonment. After enough trauma, after enough grief, after enough overwhelm, we can abandon ourselves. But some piece of us, by design, again by design, is still here because we must be. We have no other choice. So I can help you begin to trust yourself as the constant thing that has been with you the whole time and will continue to be with you the whole time. And I can help you begin to surround yourself with people you trust to honor every single part of your story. Whether they're friends, whether they're coworkers, whether they eventually become romantic partners. But these other layers of abandonment, attachment, unattachment, and the nervous system consequences of having stability repeatedly pulled out from under you, that is best done with a trauma-informed therapist. First, I want you to join Life After Loss Academy. Email me if you need financial support. We can walk through these tools related to grief together. And then I highly, 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 highly encourage you to visit traumatherapistnetwork.com or look for any online or in-person resource that guides you through coping with trauma in ways that are backed by research. Look for resources and people with trustworthy reviews because sadly, the trauma space, especially these days, can be rife with grifters looking to take advantage of people who've been wounded. And please look for credentialed instructors, people who can confirm for you, who can demonstrate to you that they are valid trauma-informed therapists and body workers and healers of whatever flavor resonates most with you in this season of your life. I think these two things together, working with me through Life After Loss Academy and working with especially a trauma-informed therapist, are going to be the things that will walk you back to yourself in a manner of speaking, in a life that is full of unfairness and trauma and lostness and abandonment and feeling as if you are the only one in the world, in your world. I grieve with you, Frozen, and I understand, I comprehend, I get why you call yourself Frozen. It makes sense. Your response to what has happened is understandable. And if no one else has told you that, I hope that that lands. You are not crazy or broken for feeling the way that you feel, and for focusing so much on everything you lost, of course. What else could be expected of you after enduring and living through what you've lived through? I hope you'll take the steps I mentioned, and I hope you'll stay in touch. I am wishing you so much love, and so much luck, too. That's all for this episode of Dear Grief Guide. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you're feeling lost, stuck, heartbroken, or overwhelmed in the midst of your own grief, check out my free workshop, Grow Through Grief: 3 ways to stop feeling stuck and start moving forward. I'll give you 3 easy, actionable tools for navigating life after loss and show you how you can create peace, stability, and compassion right there in the middle of grief's confusion and uncertainty. You can find the workshop link in the show notes. If this podcast helped you feel a little less alone in your grief, please subscribe and leave a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you're listening. And be sure to share Dear Grief Guide with a friend, because you never know what someone you love is going through. You can submit your anonymous letter for the show and find additional grief support at shelbyforsythia.com. Music for Dear Grief Guide is performed by Addie Goldstein. Editing by Rue Spence of Synivia. Until next time, I see you. I am so proud of you and the work that you're doing in the world. And I love you. Because even through grief, we are growing.